Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Hand of Fate 2. On what felt like the second attempt, were able to defeat the Emperor challenge and get gold. So now we are going to try the Hierophant for the same reason. Try and just push a lot of cards forward and see if we can get new cards. Doing some kind of crazy things here with 2 Brimstone cards in the collection, but almost everything here is new. And really, none of this is guaranteed to be the right cards. In fact, I should probably just take out anything that doesn't have a token, because that's really what we're trying to do here, is get tokens and shards, unlock things, improve our deck overall. Decent chance we'll fail here. Unfortunately, I probably should just try and succeed on this challenge more, because this is almost certainly a bad candidate to
I do not know what the usurper
play the overall
with the game.
grind.
He will have made changes, that is certain. How these changes will impact, I know not. I have tried to anticipate him here as I train you. I have built as many different scenarios as I can muster. You must be ready when we arrive.
So I'm looking here at the information to see what changes, because I imagine this is random, and so far everything looks the same as the last time I remember playing this. We want to ask about Borden. Borden was my eldest and my employer, a simple, nervous kind of man. I highly doubt he would have the heart nor the finesse to assassinate me unless he has hidden his true nature all of the time. Galfrey said Borden worked for a long time. That's one clue. And what was the other clue? I skipped past it. Rowena has been one of my silencers for as long as I've been in this position. It is a very long time indeed. So she has been around for a long time too. I'll ask. Rowena was in the 3rd Legion of the Empire, so these clues seem to be the same. Rowena always tells the truth for money. So all of these hints, these first 7 clues, are exactly the same. And unlike the Map Maker DLC challenge, which I do know that the Servant, the Map Maker, and Endless mode were all added later. So the original version of this game would have just been grinding and playing the 22 challenges, or how many challenges you have unlocked. So I need 8 more clues.
Can you put an end to these murders?
So here we have a Brimstone companion card. Watching Kedera work is as inspiring as it is perplexing. The old woman drags you from dive bar to flophouse, leaning violently on a series of increasingly bewildered snitches and underworld contacts. At last you arrive at the apparent destination, a bakery in Iron Peak's deserted markets. Achilles will target this place unless I am mistaken. The smoking tower of Iron Peak loom high overhead. The scent of lavender hangs in the air. A few lonely iced buns glisten in the shop's window. Kedera pushes the door ajar with a muzzle of her blunderbuss. A band of cutthroats are waiting inside. The baker lies unconscious at their feet. Behind them, a strange brass contraption clicking and whirls maniacally. The brutes draw their weapons and move them for the kill. Light weapons are recommended against thieves. Let's see, what do we have? We have a light weapon. We have charge bash. And we have killed people using the gun. Now I wonder if this companion quest would have been more difficult had I done it, say, on a 3rd level.
You won't be reported.
If you're gonna do a charge bash item though, it looks like you're gonna need to defend a lot more often. And to defend, you're gonna need a shield. So it's kind of an incompatible item to a two-handed weapon like I have. Kedora arouses the baker with a slap. Through tears, he explains that Achilles was here but a moment ago, setting up his poison gas contraption. I overheard him tell his thugs that he was heading to the Hound next. You must stop him. Right. Well, it certainly didn't feel like a brimstone encounter. Insist on pressing some warm loaves into your hands before you go. Kedora is already out the door. Let's see what equipment would we want to buy. Billy clubs for 34. Can we afford that? Not really. I could sell the armor and that's about it. So I'll buy the shield. You never really get the opportunity to sell food. There are a couple cards where you trade food, but
I've never seen the appeal.
don't actually sell it.
It is the goal, not the journey, that motivates me.
As you approach the inn, you're overcome by a great sense of foreboding. The windows glow with a warmth, but the usual chattel is gone. The only silence remains. Piled furniture bars the entrance from the outside. Something in the air tickles your throat and burns your eyes. The cloying scent of lavender hangs in the air. A blast of Kedora's blunderbuss clears the debris. You follow the old bounty hunter through the door. You swallow hard to keep the horror from overwhelming you. A scene of massacre awaits inside. Poison must have acted fast. A pair of former patrons lie slumped over in a game of dice. You hear the clattering from the kitchen. The sounds must be coming from the alleyways at the back of the tavern. Kedora puts a finger to its lips and beckons you to follow. It's too much text. You step over the bodies of the newly dead, following the cautious path of the bounty hunter. Somehow it feels like straying from it would be disrespectful. You hear the sounds of a quarrel outside. Kedora tries the door locked. Without warning, she aims her blunderbuss at the handle and fires, then kicks the stubborn pieces out of the frame. The waiting scoundrels stare wide-eyed at the mad old woman with the handgun before instinctively drawing the weapon, some viciously, some warily. So most of these companion quests seem to be that you're going to have multiple encounters and potentially wear down your health.
Get out of my way. Yeah.
Point face being shot doesn't seem to do much more damage or any more damage than being shot from a distance. I think my gun is supposed to kill people though, not just hit them to unlock. So I may not actually be making any real progress by just shooting them, but it is proving to be very useful. Certainly my health is at 84. I'm not taking a lot of as much damage as you normally would, since the vast majority of the time you're fighting in close combat. The single outlaw clings to life. He lies on his back, pressing desperately at a seeping wound on his side. As he stares up to the gray sky, his face is a mask of quiet regret. Kedora approaches and moves to kick him, but stays her boot at his face. Where is Aculus, boy? Where does he hide? He swallows, then says softly, I was going to marry her, you know. Tears filled the bandit's eyes. Once I got enough coin, I was only doing this for the gold. The bounty hunter stares down at him with cold eyes. When the boy runs out of sobs, he whispers, the graveyard, before quietly passing into the next life. So, Iron Peak Necropolis is now the next location we're going to. Which that feels like this is changing encounter cards. Little child, Kedara mods, come the Prince of Poisons is close. You slip past the squads of the city guards investigating the site of the latest attack. As they search desperately through the bodies, you see the hope drain from their eyes.
Clever.
So I may be
you have him cornered.
destroying.
Can you keep him that way?
We seem to be destroying other events in favor of doing this event, which I'm fine with. Unpeaked Graveyard lies on the fog-enshrouded waterfront, a hidden island of the dead. Coffins are piled in spare corners. No one remains to bury them. Someone chuckles maliciously behind you. A figure emerges from the fog, clapping, draped in purple and emblazoned with golden scorpions. It can be none other than Achilles, the Poison Prince. The brass contraption covers the lower half of his face. So he is the Poisoner of Greed. The whole card set here concept really has just been thrown out the window. It never really meant anything, I think, even in the first game, but it kind of sucks because you definitely could see a real-world tabletop version of this game that actually did have a deck of cards, and in the deck of cards there were actual suits for actual levels, that there would be an ace of greed, a 2 of greed, a 3 of greed, all the way up to a jack, queen, king,
wait for
maybe even a page.
Making the wrong move.
But the fact that they play so fast and loose with it is a problem. And certainly you could start fast and loose with your development and then just have a poisoner of steel, a poisoner of corruption, things like that, and just make sure that there is a proper grid of cards with there being a poisoner class of each type of suit, whether it's steel or greed or corruption. Cruel Kedara, the masked man, bows deeply. You remain as persistent as ever. I should have killed you back in Marhunt, but at the time I expected old age would do the job for me. I wonder if it's going to turn out that this guy is actually Kedara's former lover, and he was just poisoned or something himself that drove him crazy, and it's just like he's the Joker now. Which at a certain level, I guess he definitely feels like he is just doing a Joker characteristic. Kedara does not speak. Her face contorts with rage as she advances on her enemy. As she scrambles for a blunderbuss, her eyes well with tears, the villain laughs and flings a glass ball at her feet, where it shatters, engulfing the pair in a pale purple fog. I think we should rush forward. I hope this isn't the wrong move. You charge forward, but the smoke begins to burn your eyes and throat. From the fog, you hear the distinctive sound of daggers leaving their sheaths. Boss says, "You don't get out of here alive." You ready your weapon. The prince and Kedara are nowhere to be seen. Alright. So now if this final fight is just like 5 times more difficult than the fights up until this point, that's gonna be weird. I'm going to use every trick in the book to try and... So this guy is a boss character, but they've decided to not have him have a life bar at the top. Probably because he's jumping around so much. His jumping around only really led to me having to wildly swing at him until I could get my finisher charged. Now, did I just kill the guy, or did I just kill a strong, like, captain? You hurry back to Ketterer. The poison smoke has dissipated, leaving a broken body in its wake. Gingerly, you pick her up. She is even lighter than anticipated. Nothing remains of the legendary bounty hunter. All that is left is a fragile old woman on the threshold of death. Now, the problem here is almost every one of these scenarios seems like it is around the idea that your character is going to be killed, and then you're going to have to try and resurrect them some way. You grit your teeth and hasten to an infirmary. She does not have long to live. And so we've just lost Ketterer. Our health is not good. We have nothing to trade. So, you know, this may be about all the progress we can make is just doing that one quest. We're gonna start
I'm never one for a wager
to death.
unless a life is at stake. Press on if you must.
Let's see. Playing dice, we can't afford. Playing cards, we can't afford, so we'll just attempt to steal from patrons. Can we really get the gold here? Yeah, that seems unlikely.
Poorly done.
Even getting silver.
You must harness your will and find the quiet stillness inside you.
So I feel like we have probably Syson's always lies. That's one more clue. We may very well have just locked ourselves out of finishing this quest. But we'll pretend to play through it.
A balance of resources is key. No one wants to perish wealthy but starving.
So the move here is, I think, to fail fast, certainly. If I can... Let's do that. That's one. Find the other. Come on. He almost got away from me just by running around. Having a timer in these fights highlights how that could be a problem. Now we've got food, which which would make a lot of sense. Now to see what equipment we have and buy some food. Which we can't afford any of that. Should we sell something? Probably not. I think that's about as far as we want to go. Let's see, how much are we? Defeat enemies. Yeah, you basically need to fight skeletons or something with this. Or I guess I can change the way I fight slightly. That is true. I could change the way I fight slightly. Run into the flames.
This is not ideal for you, but I cannot help but support the necromancer here. So
here's the Sunken Catacombs Brimstone Challenge, which we really shouldn't even try. According to the local rumor, the necromancer has taken Hole's town dead deep into the haunted bogs. You must traverse the disorienting marshes, open the cursed door, and then nobody knows what waits behind the door. You traverse the disorienting marshes. We want success here. You slip and fall in the mud, landing awkwardly on your elbow.
Clearly you lack what it takes.
Your boots are encrusted in swamp mud. Continue on your search or give up. It's getting faster as it lowers the cards down. Oh yeah, we have an ogre to fight. The bog is so densely overgrown that when you part a particular thick clump of vines to uncover a resting ogre, it comes as a surprise to both of you. You still would have to spin after this. So unless this ogre is a pushover, I think we are in a bad position. Yeah. This gun doing almost nothing. 1, 2, 1, 2, then dodge. Yeah. So, yeah, unsurprisingly,
take the battle to them next
it is
time.
Not wise to take 2 brimstone cards.
You must be careful when you grab the snake by its tail, lest it turn and bite.
For seeking at the Prince of Persians, we have Iron Peak Curatives, and we have the Hunter, which seems to be a red hot brimstone card. So, attempt number 2, and we now have our permanent injury character, not dead character. Right. So, what do I think would be the right character? Probably Malaclips. Not to really take that. What wait a minute. How am I supposed to do Iron Peak curatives if I can't play as Ketera? Okay, so I have to take her. Okay, to move the story forward. But I can take her at least. Okay. Meanwhile, what would be the right move? I kind of think like arm wrestling might just be the right move as far as taking a card. Equipment wise, we're still trying to make progress on everything. Yeah, we're still just trying to make progress on everything. This probably is not the right move. So let's take gold instead. Jump back into the game quickly. This probably isn't a terrible scenario to actually get the thieves grinding done. If you skip this dialogue, you will never get gold. Going in a backwards order did not end up with more hints. That's probably one of the worst encounters you can have as your first move. So if there's coins on the ground, I literally pick them up when they're knocked down. So that there's probably a really high benefit to attacking the goblins early in these fights.
Twinned weapons for the skillful hunter. Can you claim this token?
See, I had gnomish exchange. The only thing I feel like that hasn't happened in gnomish exchange is that I've actually just died in this scenario, and that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Yeah, I can't imagine you really need to die in that scenario. But maybe that is the idea. Well, not making any progress on that, so let's give him a weapon. Well, finally, I guess maybe I just never traded a weapon, or maybe I hadn't traded something valuable enough. Both are possibilities. Let's see. We'll go and take the gambler's jewel, and then we'll keep the rest of the gold.
Can you reach the end of this challenge before you starve to death? Time will tell.
Slow swing on this. Let's just go billy clubs. Can't afford anything else. Unless you're supposed to instead, unless the move is to instead like explore more. I don't know where I'm supposed to get the remaining 11 clues. Maybe it's a case you just need a massive amount of gold, and having just a massive amount of gold at the beginning of a level so do we have another goblin that is running around here in the corners? Really only get like one charge bash per fight, so you really have to take care to use it to grind up having charge bash happen. There's a lot of items here that I guess this is probably more of an equipment challenge than I think it is. We'll severely reduce the amount of food we have. Could sell something. Bash 50 enemies as they block to unlock the shard. Yeah, that's probably not a good item to have, because it's not just bash, it's bash as they block, which I'm not sure my character, Thieves' characters, actually block.
Honor among thieves and compassion amongst killers.
Since the events in Iron Peak Cemetery, Keter has been slowly wasting away in one of the city's empty infirmaries. The lone physician tells you warily that she will not last long. That she is alive at all is something of a miracle. You stand at her bedside, not entirely sure what to say or do. Her skin is gray and molted, her hands trembling, and reach for something unseen and unknown. That bastard did it. I know he did it. The old woman bunches her fist and curses as if anger alone could stave off death. You won't take me yet. Not now, Ketera mutters desperately, but her eyelids begin to droop, her grimace out of fear or pain before succumbing to sleep. Let's see. Ask her what she's talking about. Her breathing is difficult, but she does not stir. Seek ye a cure, whispers a voice in your ear. You turn to meet the wild eyes of a suit-covered woman draped in rags and bone. She leans against a crooked staff topped with a ram skull. Desperate times call for desperate measures, she tells you, and strange poisons require even stranger cures. For your companion to see another sunrise, you must trade one life for another. From beneath her tunic, she draws a scroll marked with arcane symbols. You know of the list, the dark realm beyond the veil. The gloom holes owe their longevity to the shadow, and the creature's hearts remain rejuvenative, even when freed from the current vessel, she says with a sly smile. So, the Beast of the Grove. The cure requires the heart of a Beast of the Grove. Proceed to the map counter to find the ingredient. The cure requires 20 food, and there are 12 steps until Ketera dies. A sacrifice of your own as well. Your travel rations will do, soaked in the blood of a shadow beast, the burnt in a censer at her feet. Let the smoke do the rest. The time grows short, she says as she perches eerily on the end of the bed. Go then, go now. You reach for your haversack and hurry out the door. Okay. So, there's not likely going to be a way to get 20 food into encounters. But let's go ahead and see this anyways. Deciphering the strange poetry of the Witcher's Respite, you find yourself descending into an ancient enchanted grove. The beasts turn to face you, their eyes ablaze with arcane power. Few stumble in our grove by accident and none survive to tell it. So we have an Elder Shadow and 3 Shadows. And so rarely do you actually get to fight Shadows because they really are just, I think, DLC characters that were added after the fact. Little load animation. This is second or third one of these we've seen. The Beast of the Grove. To restore your fallen friend, you must carve out the beast heart. Mages shoot projectiles from a distance, use evade. So this is a mage. Apparently. Right. Let's take out the weak ones first. So it's the move to bash or to yeah. I don't know if the move there was the bash or just hit fast and keep him stun locked. You take the dagger out and carve the creature's heart from its chest. You find an altar dedicated to dark entities worshipped by the Shadow Beast and strip it of its valuables. Let's see. So do we want to take 50 hits in combat to unlock this ability? No. Arm wrestling here may not really have been as necessary. We're gonna have to roll again and hope we get higher numbers than that. Nope. And that resets arm wrestling, but it doesn't really matter. So my hope here would be that I could just buy food. Gain +3 gold when you draw a gold gain card. Let's see. Beat all the enemies before our time is up. If I take this, that would just be that. So it's probably better to take this. So we want to impress by defeating all the enemies quickly, which means kill, then quickly. Glitching wrist on the 3D model there. There's a lot of visual glitches in this game, a lot of straight up crashes in this game. For what it is, it really should be more polished than this. Now, in a funny way, this being a Unity engine game, there is this historical revisionism that almost certainly would happen, where older Unity games will just get crashier and crashier because they're not supported, and people will think that that's the way Unity always was, when I think at least a decent heyday of Unity, the engine was pretty good, and there's a lot of games that are completely bug-free or mostly bug-free and still using the Unity engine, so I really have to blame the developers. Let's see. Let's see. Swear yourself to secrecy. Trust a little bit more. So then we have to just ask about favorite food, roasted apples, ask about our family, ask about our past. There's the one clue. Almost certainly, I wouldn't be surprised if this whole mission is not actually any of the people being the assassin of the 3 clues, and that it is the Hierophant himself assassinating himself or faking his assassination. Kedera dies in 8 steps. 7 steps now. Let's go on the job of Borden. food. There's just not enough gold to get 20 food. What if we were to sell our equipment? Just sell something crazy, like all of it. Could we possibly get enough food there? We need 6 food. If we sell everything we have, we can have 36 gold. With 36 gold, we can get 20 food. So that's the move. We'll sell the gambler's jewel, that's not a big loss. We'll sell that, that's not a big loss. And then the biggest loss will be to sell the billiard clubs. So we got the food, and I think that was the smart move, definitely, because what was really dangerous here is that she would have just died, and then that would have just been game over. Or it would have given us an even more difficult quest. Of course, if there is more quest, it almost would make sense that she's going to die anyways, and that you'll have maybe a slightly less challenging quest because you've gotten this curse removal. But yeah, I imagine it's more likely she just would have died in this scenario and you would have had to start all over again. You return to Iron Peak bearing the ingredients for the witch's cure. The witch greedily takes the reagents from your hand and begins the ritual. Bronze basin by the foot of the patient's bed, the rations soaked in the blood squeezed from the shadow beast heart. The wild woman whispers something to her nameless gods and clicks her fingers, igniting the contents of the basin in a spout of green flame. You lose 20 food. Thick plumes of smoke fill the infirmary and cloud your vision. It becomes harder and harder to concentrate. The last thing you remember before you slip into unconsciousness is the leering face of the witch. The dusty rafters of the infirmary stretch overhead. The dull clattering and drippings of Iron Peak echo just out of earshot. You sit upright. Kedera is lying peacefully on her bed, very much alive. The witch is nowhere to be seen, but the basin of blood remains, a dark reminder of your deeds. Her face, still hollowed and gray, Kedera gazes with you, heavy-lidded eyes. Ask how she's feeling, I guess. I'm not a good person, I know this, she says softly. I've killed many, more than I can remember. Their lives blur together in a smear of blood and screams. A single tear rolls languidly down the lines of her face. She makes no motion to wipe it away. I feel no sorrow for the dead at my feet. Perhaps I am broken in my soul. It matters not, as long as my tomorrow can be avenged. Ask who tomorrow is. Tomorrow was my child. Oh, I thought it was a husband, but I guess I just assumed. My daughter, she was perfect and brilliant, and she is long gone. Kedera stares at the scene. Ask if Achilles was involved. I found him in Marhunt and tracked him here. We fought once before, but I could not defeat him. She closes her eyes, but he is her killer. I know it in my bones. The witch said you saved my life. I owe you a debt. Here, she draws one of her pistols and passes it to you. I hope this serves you well. So now we have a more powerful item, gun. I will go and face Achilles once more. Kedera considers you for a moment, her exhaustion apparent in her eyes. Perhaps you should not come. You are young, and you have the weight of the land on your shoulders. I am old. Soon I will die, and the memory of the injustice will die with me. consider your rebellion and consider that you may die with me.
A reward well earned.
Now that seemed almost like the perfect amount of dialogue. Now, as far as this card goes, it has the companion label on it, but it doesn't go any further as far as I can tell. That this is your end game. And Stun Bash requires defense. If we're gonna try and get Stun Bash, we should equip that way.
Everything is easier with a map that you can trust. Of course, that's the core of the question, isn't it?
Of course, here's the annoying thing, is that you have all these parallel stories going at the same time. Merrick is the thief from the Market Thief quest that and it has led us to a treasure hunt. Merrick relaxes aback one of the two camels resting under the grove of palms. A dry heat blows from the west. Climb aboard and lead the way, he says, tossing you the map. Sorry for taking it before, but you really can't be too trusting of people these days. You take a moment to consult the map you discovered while raiding caravans. It traces the merchants' routes that crisscross the desert land skirting the nation. One night until the assassination, 1919 cruise, and we now have a whole lot of cards. The desert hides many forgotten paths, but only the most prepared or most desperate risk trying to find them. Okay. So these have to be wrong, I would think. Just see what happens.
Into the emptiness.
Following the vague notes scrawled on the map, you journey through the desert.
Make time while you may. You see how the game changes, how its pieces move around, sometimes under your control and sometimes not.
I think the move probably here is that I would have to hit every single one of these scenarios, and I just don't have enough food for that. So I imagine you want to do Desert Track on something like Map Maker, where there's already a bunch of encounters, and then there would be very few extra encounters being added. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think that is a good candidate card to use in this scenario. So we have like a really high reload speed also on this gun. So I should have been using the gun a lot more. A gun is gonna be a game changer.
There are times when well-honed steel is the most effective answer to the questions life presents.
Let's see, offer them gold, try to sneak past. must be a case of trying to sneak past. Must be the right move. See, if that doesn't give me the shard, I don't know what wouldn't. Maybe I've just never actually landed on the watchtower where it's revealed something to the north and the south. Alright, well, without doing the desert pass thing, which I'm not willing to do, even though I have a little bit more food at the moment. Let's do this scenario. Let's see. Which one of these should we go with? That was the wrong move. Okay, this is really slow, so there's really no reason to fail this one.
Breathe. You have done well.
So this is the guy that probably do last and save your gold for. His wife left him for a trader. So you probably have to get that correct, and we can't really get any more gold, so so we've kind of lost here as far as getting gold. So do I want to see perhaps another encounter, or do I want to try and see this one through? That is the question. Let's just see if we can see this through.
How will you fare with the desolation you've uncovered? The endless wastes have their own way of focusing the mind. We begin to
I
notice
see
the
what's
more
happening here.
subtle nuances.
You only had to do it twice, and that has removed all the other ones, and failing only really teleported me. I got lucky. I thought that was going to be way worse. I thought it was going to end in fights and cause all kinds of other things. So we could ask to borrow gold, but we know that that doesn't work. So, do you get a hint from asking? No. I don't think you do. So we should be one short as far as clues. So there somehow needs to be like 8 more clues in this scenario, and I don't see how you do that unless you were gonna redo an encounter with Forgotten Dreams. It's just too arm wrestling. The cards, when they move slow, actually don't cover up each other completely. We're just going through all this dialogue. It just feels like there isn't actually that many. Like, there aren't actually 19 clues in this level. And that really just doesn't make any sense. Alright, so here's a platinum card. We needed to know what this did. Greetings, fellow traveler, cheerful fellow clad in brilliant yellow. Sorecoat passes you on a road one day. A man gasps, bends down, agape to artifact on your belt. Lovely, just lovely. He pulls out a hefty scroll. I've been documenting every nook and cranny of this beautiful land, and my soul is shaking with delight at the thoughts of sharing it with you. So he just reveals everything. Interesting. May your vistas be breathtaking and your tree climbing be non-lethal. With an enthusiastic wave, the man shudders his heavy rucksack and continues his journey, whistling all the while. So, yeah, that's possibly a little bit helpful. But in this case, not that helpful, because we were going to have to go in that direction anyways. Very large levels and maps. That could be very helpful for, particularly if there's a lot of dangerous elements to avoid. Alistair's Antiquities.
Step, hoping to survive.
Yet another
Find
token
food if you
card,
can.
new card. We definitely are having a lot more potential to make progress now. Maybe because I've just gotten better at the game. Alistair's Magical Antiquities does steady business in the heart of Iron Peak's merchant district. The sturdy door creaks open to reveal a showroom cluttered with all manner of oddities, from the wondrous to the bizarre. The clerk peers at you over the top of his reading bifocals and takes a moment to assess your attire. You're here for work then? Very well, come in, come in. I'm in need of a reliable relic hunter. An artifact from the time of tumult was unearthed recently, and there'd be good coin in it if you could prove it had retained any of its enchantments. Interested. Let's ask about antiquities. Alistair is operated blah blah blah. That's the exact same text being repeated. I deal in rare and wondrous items. It is my business to show when a new one is discovered. The job is straightforward. Travel to the forest, acquire the item, and return it to me. If you can prove that it has some magical properties before you return some of the magic remains, yet I'll reward you most handsomely. Use the item and leave at least one charge for a greater reward when returned. Right. Rumors placed the item in a ruin deep in the forest west of Iron Peak. Yes, it's unguarded, but you won't be the only adventurer hoping to recover it. I recommend haste on your part. And remember, if you can prove the artifact's enchanted, then it retains some of its fabled power, I'll pay more. You thank the clerk for the lead and set off in the direction of the treasure. Although technically you don't actually set out in the direction of the treasure, and seems to indicate that it's in this brother's betting house. We'll see if that actually happens.
You must learn to manage your resources better.
Doesn't matter, we starved to death.
This is the simplest part of our challenges.
Well, I definitely dropped the ball on that. But we got a lot of rewards. For assisting the gnomes in their battle against the goblins, we now have a gnome hunt card. I don't even know what card I did to accomplish that. I think that was gnomish exchange. For saving Kedera from death, we have Aculus, and the hunter is back as a companion. And for saving Kedera from death, our supplies also start with the Runefire Flintlock, which is a weapon I probably will lean on more and more when I'm actually trying to win. It is very contradictory, where some runs are just going to be about getting tokens, and some runs are going to really be about getting gold in the challenge. And you can't guarantee an overlap of success in both cases. We now have the Cave of Wonders for crossing the desert, and this is very much becoming Aladdin and the 40 Thieves, or Arabian Tales. I'm very confused still, though, as to how you would pull this off as far as getting the hints. It seems like to me it would be gold all the time. So yeah, this card is useless now. This card is useless. Getting gold from dice rolls is probably useless. This card I think is useless in this scenario. And this card is useless. So we would add that one, and then let's see. The question I guess is there a scenario that would give you information this is dice rolls, but we're not likely to have great dice rolls. So yeah, we're looking for something that would say information. Or maybe fame? Does fame make sense? Possibly. This quest plus card. It's also influenced by completing a quest. I feel like the move may very well be to just do. That's probably a good one. That one feels like that would have been a smart card to play. Also, could it be that you need blessings? A lot of these cards definitely feel completely disconnected from this. Take the loan shark scenario. That makes a lot of sense. Mystical Island. That's another one that would make sense. But yeah, the vast majority of these cards in no way feel like they would narratively give you more hints. So there's gotta be some other way to pull this off. Meanwhile, we're still struggling to upgrade any equipment. This flintlock pistol versus the stronger. This does 20 damage, this does 20 damage, ignoring defense. Let's take fame and just see. Sorry, I'm going really quiet here. Alright, well, in the next episode, we're gonna try this one more time, but I think unless I figure something out, I am gonna have to move on to a different mission. You know what I'll do is I'll look online and just see if there's something that will better explain where the remaining 8 hints are, because they are completely hidden here. Alright, well, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and keep on watching. Thanks.